As you can see, we're starting 5 o'clock on the dot so that we'll be able to finish latest 6 o'clock. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me, please? You can signify by... Okay. So I want to welcome all our mediators to the... I want to welcome all of you to this neutral Parley, and I want to say that we're pleased that you could join us today. Before we start, I would like to express on behalf of the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse management and staff a deep appreciation to all of you through phone calls, through messages. You've been just wonderful. Your offer, people have offered to help in any way possible in respect of what happened recently on October 21 at the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse. It's an unfortunate incident, and I said, look, I would like to use this opportunity to tell our mediators what actually happened and the extent of the damage to the Multi-Door Courthouse, so that you would understand. On October 21, 2020, it was a Wednesday morning, I got a call from one of the staff who lives in Lagos Island. And the staff said, there's a problem. You know, we're having some people break into the High Court. So of course, I made calls so that they could call Get Lion Building to go there. Then he called again and said they were setting the cars outside the court on fire in the car park, and that so it wouldn't get into the court. So I quickly called the head of the fire service of Lagos State, and I said they should dispatch a fire truck immediately to the High Court of Lagos at Iposhere. So the head of the fire service said, you know, unfortunately, there is really nothing that they can do because all their fire trucks had been, you know, hijacked by hoodlums because of the, you know, during this protest, that they were going to TBC to put out the fire. That is what happened, you know. They set the fire trucks ablaze. And in fact, they came to the fire service office and they had to run for their lives. So at this junction, there was really nothing she could do. So helplessly, I think they helped us, the judiciary helped us to call the Lion Building. Lion Building policemen came to the High Court. They spent about 3 minutes and they went back. So I should say it was a helpless situation. There was really nothing. We called the police, they were not helping. Fire service, they couldn't help. So unfortunately, one of the most horrific and unbelievable things happened on that 21st of October. The High Court was set ablaze. Now, the damage to the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse, because if you look at it from the front, the foyer of the High Court, the reception of the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse, down to the kitchen, I'm sure all of you are familiar with the Lagos Multi-Door, down to the kitchen was burnt down to the extent that there was we couldn't see anything. It was completely burnt down. The ADR unit at the reception, that is just off the reception, the first office, the office of the deputy director, the registry office, the whole reception, the whole kitchen, everything was completely burnt down beyond recognition. Now, before they did that,
this is the definition of breakdown, a mechanical failure.
Now, before they did that, they broke into the offices and they removed everything, all the equipment. They took away all the laptops, all the printers, all the photocopier machines, everything. The fridge, we had a big fridge in the kitchen. I'm sure you know the fridge in my office, in the office of the second office, everything they ripped to the office. before they now set it ablaze. So that's the extent of the damage. The building that there's a building that we just completed. We had about 11 to 12 mediation rooms that we just constructed under the office, and the office of the director, the chairman, the peace hall, the arbitration room, the mediators lounge, and the bathroom beside the mediators lounge. The fire did not touch those places, but because of the intensity of the fire, those places are full of black soot. They're not habitable right now. Something has to be done. And when we were going around with the chief judge, what the Honorable Chief Judge said was that we have to give, the Lagos State government some time. The Lagos State government owns the building. We have to give them some time to see whether they would allow us to use that part that wasn't affected by the fire. We would have wanted that, but I think it's not likely, because they wouldn't want people to come into the High Court right now, the burnt vehicles, and then they might start reconstruction very soon. So it might not be wise for us to use the place as an office. So what have we been doing? We've been having meetings with the Lagos State Judiciary, with the Attorney General, with the Chief Judge, and we've been going around to look for office space, and of course with the Governing Council. We've been going around to look for office space so that we can have a place to meet. In the meantime, we're using our ADR track Ikeja office within the Ikeja High Court. We're using it, we have told some of our staff to move there. There's some essential departments like accounts and all that. Unfortunately, the whole accounts department, we were not able to bring out anything. The accounts was totally burnt down. The registry, a lot of the files that were kept in the archives in the foyer, completely burnt down. So we've been having meetings. They've told us that we should look for office space. And of course, the work is a bit slowed down because we do not have computers and laptops. Everything was stolen. We don't have computers to work with. We don't have laptops. So, but we're working on it. We're talking to the government. We're talking to the judiciary. And very hopefully, we are hoping that very soon things will come back to something like normal, even if not normal itself. Now, so we want to use this opportunity to appreciate our mediators. Mr. Kenneth Onyema, we saw that he brought out a notice yesterday, or was it the day before, and asking mediators to support and to help the Lagos Multi-Law Courthouse. We want to express our appreciation. We're very grateful. Honestly, I would say without any shame that we honestly need laptops. We need computers to work with. This is something that we never imagined would happen. We didn't know that they could come into the High Court, steal everything, and then set it ablaze. So we would really appreciate any help that we can get so that we can go back 100% to start working. Now, mediations are still going on online. We have not stopped that. Thank God for COVID, in inverted commas. At least we're working online we're mediating online. So that is something that. So we are hoping that we'll be able to get an office soon. We have looked around. We have seen 1 or 2 offices that likely that we like, that we are potential offices. So we're talking to the people who are in charge of those offices to see what can be done. Of course, it's going to need renovation and all that, and we're hoping that we'll be able to do everything on time, so that at least by January, February, hopefully we'll be able to do, start working. I just want to assure everybody that we're taking it in our stride, and we're working hard, behind the scenes to ensure that everything goes back to normal as quickly as possible. So I'm going to quickly call on, before I talk about the online settlement month, I'm going to quickly talk about the mediators fees, to say that we're going to ensure that we pay all outstanding fees. We want to start paying, by next week. So the accounts are trying to get their records back. That's a tough one, because nothing was saved, no computer, no file, nothing. There's just nothing. They're starting from scratch. So, but hopefully, we're hoping that very shortly we'll be able to pay our mediators. So I'm going to call on the Deputy Director, Head of Operations, to talk to us about the status, Mrs. Cole, Mr. Chereko, to talk about the status with case management presently now, before I now talk about the online settlement month. Mrs. Cole.
I'll echo the director and say a huge thank you for your support. We are overwhelmed, but at the same time, we know that you're family, so we're not surprised. So thank you. We are strong and we are going on with work, as the director has said. Unfortunately, between March and now, we were able to take our mediation online, and that has done a lot for us. So we're mediating online. We have challenges with primarily signing terms of settlements. I'll come to that later, but even mediators have really just blown our minds in terms of signing terms, despite all our challenges. So in terms of data, fortunately, even if we lost some data in the FOIA, we had just concluded the first phase of our archiving, which we had put downstairs. Unfortunately, that place didn't get burnt. So we have quite a lot of files remaining. But for the registry and ADR unit, when people work, you would go and take files back to your offices. All those data are gone. So we're trying to put back together information in the registry. We're practically done, thankfully. Information in the registry, information in ADR unit, Legal Settlement Week. Director will address that. We're making some strides in that also. We've been mandated to ask where we can. There will be some gaps somewhere where we cannot get the information back. So we'll be speaking with clients and expect clients to show up and say, look, we haven't heard from you. What's going on with my case? So if any mediator here has any case that you see stalling, please contact us. We might not have the details. We may have it, but just get through to us to say, look, I have 3 matters, I have 4 matters, I don't know what is going on with these matters. You might just be a link for those particular cases. But majorly, we have most of our information because we had gone online, so we had information stored in our systems. Now, like I said, that was just the first phase of our archiving. This just happened, unfortunately, because the next phase was to scan everything and take it online. So we're going to be looking for funds for that also in terms of case management, to scan all the information downstairs and put it online. And then any information coming in now, just to give you that assurance, is automatically scanned and saved. And in terms of even our server, we're going to put our server on the cloud. We had all this planned, but money was a challenge. But even now it has become more important. So in terms of case management, I would say we're making moves, we're mediating, we're still getting amazingly, a lot of people referring their cases to us. Maybe I shouldn't say amazingly. The courts, some of the courts are burnt. So people are looking for where to have their cases settled. So we're having a lot of inquiries coming to us, even without an office space in Lagos Island. So we're still going pretty strong, I would say, by the grace of God. So that's it for case management. Thank you very much, Director.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Cole. Before I talk about let me talk about the online settlement month. We had, I'm sure all of us remember that we had a webinar some time ago, and we wanted to start by mid-November. Unfortunately, because of this incident, it's been delayed. It's like, knocking somebody off, like that. But we're back on our feet. And so the online settlement month will now hold from December 7th to January 22nd, 2021. December 7th, 2020 to January 22, 2021. Now, as we said, it's an online settlement month. So it's going to be held online by Zoom, as we have been doing, and that's how we've been mediating our cases. So we're just going to ensure that we mediate our cases. It's going to be online. Now, what is different about this settlement week? First of all, aside from it being online, we want to maximize the efficiency of the settlement month. We want to ensure that the cases are settled in record time. We want to reduce the turnaround time of the settlement month. So because of that, we have introduced what we call pre-mediation sessions. Mrs. Cole is going to talk about the pre-mediation sessions immediately once I finish. Now, the pre-mediation sessions are meant to give you a leeway, talk to the parties before actual mediation starts. The reason is because the online sessions, we're limiting them to only 3 sessions. We expect that because you already have the opportunity to have a pre-mediation session with the parties, you should be able to conclude the mediation within 3 sessions. Now, if it's a physical mediation, you are expected to conclude within 2 sessions. The pre-mediation session, we feel, will give you the opportunity to ask for, people that you Mrs. Cole will talk about it. So we're limiting online sessions to 3 sessions, and we're limiting physical sessions to only 2 sessions. That is, you have those 3 sessions to conclude and to settle that matter. If it's a physical mediation, you have just those 2 sessions to conclude and, to conclude and settle the matter. So, Mrs. Cole, I'd like you to give us some comprehensive information on the pre-mediation meetings. The pre-mediation meetings, please. Let us have some very comprehensive, detailed information on them so that every mediator knows what to do.
Thank you, ma'am. For the pre-mediation sessions, I think we're leveraging on what we've all learned. I hope I'm audible. Hello? Can't seem to see anyone again. Hello?
We can hear you, Mrs. Cole. We can hear you. It's fine.
Can somebody indicate?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Now for pre-mediation sessions, I said we're leveraging on what we all learned during the ODR certification program, different ODR certification programs we all have done one way or the other. That is important to do, go through a preparatory phase, and even more so for the online settlement month, because we don't have much time. I'm sure you've seen the time frame. So we need to take advantage of the 3 sessions that we have online to resolve. And we need to be able to prove a point that matters can be resolved online. So during the pre-mediation sessions, what we would expect to see, and we'll send this out, we're just discussing this today, but we'll send it out as a document or as an email at least, even on WhatsApp, we'll communicate it. We'll expect to see an agenda created for the mediation session so that the parties know that this is the agenda we're going to follow. You know how the settlement week can be and has been sometimes. Lawyers take advantage, do no-shows, they don't show up with them, and it's quite strict, and they know that you're firm, that this is how it's going to run. Secondly, it's an opportunity to identify the parties and representation. Typically, the case managers will do this. Now, but as the mediator, we're hoping that you would take on this as we all learned, and identify the parties during the pre-mediation meeting and find out, are you the right person to be representing the company? Now, what that will do for us, and even get a letter and request that they send the multi-door courthouse a letter of authority. Now, when they see the mediator doing this, they will know how important it is that they do these things. Now, if you ask for representation, then they know that if they don't bring, that can't be the only way we run the settlement month, or it will be untidy. So it's so important that you get the name of the party who's going to represent the company, or the individual who's coming, or if the individual is going to be tougher to resolve. So it's the mediator who can make that judgment call regarding representation because of your training. And once you do, you document it. All of this is going to be documented in a form. Once you document it, then the case manager is responsible for ensuring that what you have written happens. The session will not be scheduled until the parties do what the mediator has asked them to do. Next, the mediator during the pre-mediation session would identify necessary documentation. Sometimes during the settlement week previously, it's at the first session. In fact, the first session became a date-taking session, and we've said no more of that. More importantly, even online, and then going forward, this pre-mediation session, I think, has come to stay. So it will be helpful, and it's part of the requirements really for the pre-mediation meeting, that mediators identify documentation required and document it in the form. So the case manager is required to ensure that all that documentation is submitted before the actual first mediation session. Also identify issues for discussion. So that could be in your agenda, for instance. So it is clear that it is issue by issue, because online you have only so much time. We're targeting at least 500 cases. 500 cases will be running online between December 7th and January. So we have only so much time online, and we need to maximize it. So it will be good to identify, and important to identify, the issues for discussion. The parties know it, that this is what these are the issues we're going to discuss. And we stick to those issues. They will be distilled at the pre-mediation meeting. Confirm mediation session date. So as against waiting for the case manager, it's your opportunity. You're sitting right there with the parties. You open your diary and say, these are the dates I have available. Every mediator can determine how they want to run. All that is important is that you turn in the form to the case manager, and they do all the calls after that and the follow-up that they need to do in terms of case management. You can even identify possibilities for settlement immediately, so that they go back and think, even before the session starts, that, can we resolve these matters in these ways? And please document in the form so that it's clear. Then provide all necessary information which is required before the commencement of mediation. It might not be documentation. It might be a visit to the locus inco. It could be a survey. It could be so many things. It could be an audit and you determine at the pre-mediation session that, look, I'm not even going to start a meeting or a first mediation meeting without an audit being done. This we're leveraging on the experience of our mediators to run the settlement month so that it's really effective and efficient. And then, of course, after all of this mentioned is done, then the pre-mediation form is filled and forwarded to the case manager. Case manager does all the follow-up because that's the responsibility. It's forwarded to the case manager and they follow up. And please don't feel under pressure to start any case. If the things you've requested for have not been done, then the case will not start, because the 3 sessions start counting from your first mediation session. I really want to stick to this so that by January we can round up completely the online settlement. All the things, if you have any, so have a different approach, please let us know, probably even from the chat section now, so we can start dealing with them. Thank you very much. Director, over to you, Ma.
I'd like you to talk about the terms of settlement, the online and physical signing of terms of settlement quickly.
Okay, Ma. Now, for signing terms of settlement, we realized that when we started out, we said we would do it online, which was that you would, once the terms of settlement are reached, they would be printed and signed by the party, and then, you know, scan back on and then anymore. I'm sure we all are privy to this. Those who have been able to get the terms of settlement or go to our offices or just looking for different ways to ensure signing was done. This is the first online settlement month in Africa. Hello?
I don't think they can hear you. It's
Hello?
going on.
Okay, can you hear me now? You can hear me?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Okay, thanks. So I was talking about the terms of settlement, how to sign. And I said we had challenges in the past because of the scanning, printing, and then scanning and printing, and then it wasn't legible. So going forward, we would work with physical signing, but then I said we might get terms of settlement from people outside the country in other states. How will they sign? And we've considered that. So we're going to have to pay for either DocuSign or AssureSign or Adobe, one of them. We're going to have to pay for it. If anyone has any other suggestions, please let us know. We're all in this together. But that's what we're thinking. Between now and the end of the week, we're going to make the final decision and make the payments if that's the way to go. So we've looked at it, and it does seem we'll be the only ones that need to pay, and the other parties will not need to pay, neither will the mediator need to pay. Well, we'll do a further confirmation this week again and see how that works. And we'll get back to you. Your case managers will be telling you how we're going to sign online, no longer scan and print, because that is not working. So it will either be through an app or a physical signing. So whichever works for the parties on a case-by-case basis. That's our plan. So we'd like to hear from you in terms of that. Thank you. I'm saying kindly repeat. Am I still inaudible?
Yes, you're audible. You're audible now.
Hello?
You're audible. We can hear you.
Okay. Was everybody able to hear? Please, Ma, could you hear right through? Could you hear right through, Ma?
Well, I couldn't. there were some parts that had network failure, but I'm not sure if it affected everybody. But I think the important thing is that we're going to be able to.
I may need to take it again from Mr. Fatogo. Somebody else says I've already repeated. Can I have another chat, please? I should rephrase. Okay. Am I clear again, ma, now?
Yes, you are clear.
I can change my.
Yes, you can.
Let me see quick. The short of it all. The short of it all is that we're going to use an app, DocuSign or Adobe Sign. I can see someone, a mediator, saying DocuSign is the way to go. You know, so we're going to either use that or do physical signing. It's one of the two. But we'll be guiding you right through the process. So that's for the terms of settlement. Ma'am, through, ma.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Cole.
Yes, ma'am.
So, please, we're going to give people the opportunity to talk when we finish the, when we finish the items on the agenda. So please don't worry. When there is, just after the AOB, we'll give you an opportunity to make your comments. So, what are the requirements, qualification for being able to mediate at the online settlement month? Now, the first thing I would say is ODR certification. We would require that mediators who want to mediate, or at least the only way we will appoint you to mediate at the online settlement month is for you to have some ODR certification. Now, we're also going to require for you to have what we call a Zoom Pro account. And now let me just quickly explain that. Now, the online settlement month, there are going to be quite a number of cases. You will agree with me, those mediators that have mediated cases with us, you will agree with me that those cases, it's the case manager. We use the Zoom Pro account of the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse. So it is those cases and the case managers that open the Zoom Pro account, and then the case managers work with you with the Zoom Pro account. Now, maybe we have one mediation per day, or even if it's 3 mediations, maybe one from ADR track, one from this, one from. So there is time, the case managers can cope. But we've looked at it. With the online settlement month, there's going to be a lot of cases. We do not have the number of case managers to match the cases. If we're talking of 500 cases, and we're talking of maybe being able to mediate about 20 or 30 cases a day, we do not have 20, 30 case managers that will work with each of those cases. We don't have that kind of manpower. So we're thinking it's better for the mediators to be independent, to have their own Zoom account, and then we just give them the cases, they mediate, and then they give us a report. If we do it the way we've been doing it, we will not be able to cope with the deluge of cases. So that's why we are requiring, it's a requirement that the mediators have their own Zoom account. Of course, it is better for the mediators to please have not the 40-minute basic. It will be good because the 40-minute basic may be frustrating for the mediator and the parties as well. Now, of course, we all know stable internet connection is required. It will be good to have a backup so that if the one you are using right now is not working, you can quickly change to another one. So if you find that MTN is not working, you can change to Swift or Cable One or something. Steady power supply, maybe a generator as a backup or something, so that if there is a problem, we can do something about it. And of course, we've always advised that it's not good. You can't have the best experience with a smartphone. It's better for you to use a desktop or a laptop. So please, as much as possible, maybe we need to invest in a laptop. Okay. Now, lastly, before we invite comments, I would like to talk about the ODR Europe certification. The certificates were delayed, not through the fault of ODR Europe, but we had some problems with government bureaucracy. It took us quite some time to be able to get out of it, but it's all sorted out now. And hopefully some people, they are already dispatching the certificates to participants. Now, I would like to assure everybody that this sort of thing won't happen again. We've sorted out the problem, the issues, and hopefully it won't happen again. And we want to say thank you for your patience, because I think the course was done in July and we're not getting certificates until November. It was purely government bureaucracy, not the fault of ODR Europe, not really the fault of the LMDC management. We did, when you're a government organization, it's different from when you're a private organization. Okay, so we'd like to invite comments, please, from mediators. So Mrs. Cope, you will coordinate this session, and we'll share the answers together, answering it together. So Mrs. Cope, please, if you have any comments or questions, you are very welcome. Thank you.
All right. Do I have you?
If you'd like to make comments, kindly indicate. Okay, I can see.
Okay.
Mr. Yema, you already started? Please go on. Go on, sir. Please go on, sir.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and good to see all of our faces again. Quite a while. Thanks to SARS, what do you call it, NSAR, all of us. I'll listen to the director and deputy director make some comments and bring us up to speed. And I'd just like to make a few comments along those lines. She said somewhere along the line that you were considering if you will use on one part of the LMDC building. I will invite engineering perspective, because you need to test the structural integrity of that building.
And they won't hear you.
Discard the idea for now. Can you hear me now? All right, that we disseminate more information to us so we know what is going on in this uncertain period. I would also like to use this opportunity to appeal to my fellow mediators and stakeholders in LMDC to participate in the fundraising that we are doing to raise some funds to support LMDC get back to its feet. It is absolutely voluntary. If you don't put support at all, it will not in any way affect you. But I think that we all have some stake in getting LMDC back on its feet. So I urge you to do that. If you don't have the account details, you can get in touch with me. So far, I posted it yesterday, but I'm extremely pleased at the kind of responses I've gotten so far. Some of us have so far, just between yesterday and this afternoon, we've received well over 80,000 naira into the account. So the target of 2 million that I'm expecting, I'm sure we'll get it, at least with people like Benjamin and William and all of you around. Folashade Raji, no problem. We'll get that 2 million before the time is up. Mrs. Thomas, I didn't even see you. What am I talking about? Mrs. Cole, let me assure the management of LMDC on behalf of my mediators, fellow mediators, that we are going to raise 2 million naira for you and to take care of the computers and things that will enhance our work. Do I have the IA of everybody? All of us in support, please, let me see your hands. I'm not seeing any hands, so yeah, Benjamin, I trust you. Yenka, yeah. Oh, sir, I didn't see you. Good afternoon, sir. You're welcome back from the UK.
I'm still in UK.
Yeah, you're welcome back. Always glad to see you. You know, we need. I believe that we're all in support in getting LMDC back on his feet. If you have not visited that place, I urge you to go there. You will cry. The day I went there, I just couldn't believe the extent of man's inhumanity to historical. That building is not just a building. It's a historical building. It has been there for, I think, from the First Republic. You know, there's something that deserves to be preserved. But anyway, it has happened, it has happened. So we thank God that it has even happened. He knows why. So that is what I'm pleading. And please, not all of us are on the platform. So pass the word out to other
Thank you
media.
very much, Mr. Lee.
For those who have done something in between yesterday and today, God bless you for setting the ball rolling. I know that we're going to get that money. And I will start putting the names up from, let me allow tomorrow, from Wednesday morning. We'll start having updates of names. Allow some people I can see here throwing the checks in. So thank you for allowing me contribute to this in this thing. And then again, when we're talking about signing, in terms of settlement, some of us mentioned DocuSign, Adobe Sign, and all of those technology reliant processes. The few online mediation that I have done, we try to use, you know, online thing. It didn't come out quite clearly. So what did we do? We did hard copies and got the parties to sign the way we are used to. You know, some of us are not technology savvy, and everything came out fine. So I think we should also consider that if you can get the parties to meet in one place or take them to people wherever they are, be able to get them to sign. It looks neat because this one that we do online, sometimes you find it difficult to identify or read anything on them, you know. So that's my little contribution to that. So we should be more creative and have more. This is a challenging time for us. The pre-mediation session that the director and deputy director spoke about, perfect. It will also help us to get, you know, the parties to trust us more and be more open if we handle it properly. Perhaps you may consider a little workshop on that. What, not, you know, this pre-mediation thing. Let's have a little one. Let's not assume that having passed the word out, we will pick it up like that. But it's a very beautiful initiative, and I think it's going to work out fine for all of us. So thank you for allowing me to talk this period. I'm through. All right, so I can continue talking.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Onyema. Thank you very much. So we've taken what you said about trying to organize something. We're just looking at the time. It's not really, it's not a lot. You know, I'm sure it's something that most mediators will be able to grasp. in a short time. So what we'll do is that an outline of what is expected at the mediation session, at the pre-mediation session, we'll send it, by email to all mediators so that they understand what the outline and what is expected of them. Getting documentation ready, ensuring that the right representation, the right people are at the table and all that. We'll get it, we'll do a sort of guide, an outline, and send it to the mediators. I hope, I should think that will help. Our mediators are very smart individuals, so I'm sure we won't have any problem with that.
Mr. Yema, Mr. Yema, I don't know if you addressed it. I went out of this because of network.
Yes, I had
the unbound part of the building, so that
I didn't hear that.
Mr. Yema had commented on the unbound part of the building and the safety.
I didn't hear that. What did he say?
Yes, no, well, just saying, that it's important not to go back in. So I wanted to let him know that engineers have come from
looked at the structure.
They've looked at the structure, from the government. So definitely we're not going in like that. They've done the assessment and we're waiting for the assessment. So it's based on the assessment that we can then go back in.
Yeah.
Then there's a question, should individual mediators notify the LMDC when they get their Zoom Pro account? I think the first step would be to confirm, as long as you have ODR certification, then you can go ahead and let us know when you get your Zoom Pro account. But that's the first step. So we're looking to you, please, as you get your certificates, and those who already have certificates from other programs, please kindly send your certificates to the Human Resource and Training Manager, Chidima Winedam. She's going to be collating and updating your records online. So anything we get now, we'll put it online, thank God. So please, let me just repeat this. If you have an ODR certificate, please send it to Chidima, because she will now compile the final list of mediators who will participate in the OSM. It's a requirement now, and we had said it earlier, that by August, September, we were giving some room for mediators to go and get certification. Ma, then somebody else asked how they can get training, Ma. About 2 mediators have asked how they can get training, ODR training, those who weren't able to get any.
Okay, so it depends on the number of people, because we can organize another training from ODR Europe. So I don't know, Chidima will probably have to collate and let us know the number of people so that we can quickly organize another one for them. That's no problem at all.
Yeah, she's just responded, and based on our last meeting with ODR Europe, we're actually organizing another training, but so let's hear from everyone and know those who haven't got any at all. The next question, Ma. For those asking and saying they haven't got the email from ODR Europe, Ma, you want to take that? Sure. Respond.
Yes, an email that is you've not gotten your certificate yet, or you've not gotten information that, well, you passed or you didn't pass, or this is your certificate. What ODR Europe said is they will try as much as possible to ensure that within the next, I think they said 7 days or something, they will be able to ensure that everybody gets something from them. Either your certificate or whatever. They'll make sure that you get. So let's look towards the end of this week. By the end of this week, I'm sure they should have touched everybody. If not, it will flow over into next week. So please don't worry if you have not heard from them. It's a process, they're going through in batches. So okay, does that answer the question?
Yes, so I think that.
Yeah.
Mediator is asking who will be responsible. Hello, Ma.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Who will be responsible for the personal Zoom financially?
For the mediators. Okay. You know, we said
Yes,
that we wanted the mediators to be independent, to be able to, because of manpower issues and all that. So it's the mediators that will be responsible for their own personal Zoom rooms. They're going to be paying for it themselves. Can I just quickly say that the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse, even though it started as a public-private partnership, it's actually a government organization. And it's difficult, really, you know, when working with government to do a lot of things that you would like to do if you were just a private organization. If you didn't have to ask permission, get approval, you know, having to go to government, please, we need to, it's just bureaucracy. If it's a private organization that the buck stops at our table, LMDC management table, I can assure you that all these things you are seeing, all these delays, you won't see it. It's just natural. That's just government. That's how government works. So I don't think government is going to pay for personal Zoom rooms for each mediator. Right now we have about 300 mediators, and then I have to write an application to government to say these are the names of all these people, about 300 of them, and I want government to start paying for their personal Zoom. They're going to throw it out. They're certainly not going to answer me. They're not even going to. They would even think it's not worthy of a response. They're going to throw it inside the dustbin. Because one of the things they'll say is, you know, every single mediator, I want you to look at it. If we have 300 mediators and personal Zoom Pro, I don't know how much it is. Mrs. Cole, how much is it per year? And then times it by 300. Lagos State government right now, they're cutting down costs. There are a lot of things that they have to pay for. They have to rebuild a lot of buildings. They have to buy equipment. No. The mediators will have to pay for it themselves. We're really sorry about that, but honestly, we don't see any other way we can work it out. So please bear with us, please bear with us, please.
Okay, ma. Then another question: where is Chidima operating from? Whether they can send their certificates to Chidima by email? We'll say yes to that. Please send her an email.
Yeah.
I think because yes, you can scan it and send it if you have a hard copy. But if it's a soft copy, then just forward it to Chidima by email. Chidima, please, can you put in your email in the chat for those who don't have it? Then also, those who did the ODR Europe with the LMDC, well, at least one mediator has asked if there's any need to still forward your certificate. And we say yes, because we don't have your certificates. We have a list, but we don't have your certificate. So for your records, just forward the soft copy to Chidima so she can update your records at the Multi-Door Courthouse. Another question, should we take it that submission to use DocuSign or whatever form of signing documents is practicable during the mediation? I don't understand this. Will be incorporated into terms of agreement to mediate. Mr. Adenuga, Mr. Juwon Adenuga, your question is not clear. Please, can you maybe rephrase? Mr. Adenuga, so we'll take yours later once you rephrase. Can we send the certificates to Chidima by WhatsApp? You can.
Why not?
You'll be able to put it. Yes, you can. So Chidima has put up her email now. It's in the chat. Chidima's email is in the chat now. So you can take it and please send in, I hope everyone can see it, chidiani@yahoo.ca or lmdctrainings@gmail.com. Please, can we take this? Chidi in the chat section, Chidiani, please check the chat section so that you can immediately forward your, because it's actually quite important we send it today, tomorrow. We're compiling the list already. Chidiani@yahoo.ca or lmdctrainings@gmail.com. If you haven't seen it, please indicate so that it can be reposted, but it's still showing on the chat right now. So if you look in the chat, Pastor Wigwe hasn't seen it. So I will just call this out. LMDC. Pastor Wigwe, you have a pen.
Let her put it on the platform.
Okay, fantastic. So LMDC trainings with an S at gmail.com.
LMDC
Cinema will also put on.
Let her put it on the WhatsApp.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Fatokun. She will also put it in the WhatsApp platform, but you can send it to LMDC trainings in case it gets. Anyway, our WhatsApp platform is shut down, so it's easy for you to see it. You can't respond, and it's for things like this. So Chidima will put it on the WhatsApp platform. I'm sure you will get it.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Madam. I'm aware, Ma. I'm reading this out for you. I'm aware the Olusegun Ado Road Court is operational now. And I understand some courts from Lagos Island will be relocated there. Will NMDC be there as well? Olusegun Ado Road Court. Where's that? Mrs. Ladi, can you unmute Mrs. Ladisani? We'd like to hear from her.
Or is that the Kiosa?
Yes, that is
that the High Court Kiosa?
Yes, it's operational now. I was there last week Thursday, and I was able to even get my CTC certified. So they are working.
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
thank you very much. Yes, they are working, and we've spoken to the Chief Judge, Honorable Chief Judge of Lagos. We said we wanted space at the Tiosa High Court. So, well, they are looking at it. The first thing they told us is that there is no space. So, but we're going to send people. We have to go and look at it ourselves. The first thing the Chief Judge said was there is no space. But we're not deterred. We're still going to check. We're looking for space in Ikodu. We're looking for space in even Badagry. We're looking for space in Etiosa. We're looking for space in Ikeja. We're looking for space in all, in as many magisterial and high court districts that we can get. We've started the process. We've spoken to the chief registrar, to the chief judge, and we're working on it. We actually are working on it. So thank you very much for that observation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sani. Ma, another question. Would our fee be increased if we're going to pay for personal Zoom? Remember, we're paying for data and fuel.
When electricity fuels. Well, as I said, in fact, the fee without paying for Zoom is inadequate. I mean, we know that. We find it very embarrassing. It's just, the fee is just too poor. And we realize that. We're working on it, but right now, government is not, I don't know. I don't think they're going to welcome us saying that we want an increase. We've been asking for increase in mediators fees from as long as I can remember. And it's not just working. We'll keep on trying, I mean, that's one of the things we considered. We had a serious meeting before we could even come out to say we want mediators to pay for their Zoom pool. You cannot imagine the discussions and the talks management was having. I said, look, these people that you are paying 30,000, 25,000, you want them to come and pay for Zoom pool. I don't think it's going to work. We had to, but we were boxed in. There was really nothing we could do. If we're going to mediate those number of cases, we can cope with the number of case managers we have, So we're still trying. We're still working on it to ensure that we can do something about the fees. But right now, Lagos State is not receptive to increasing fees, everywhere. They're not receptive to that. The priority of Lagos State right now is to rebuild the agencies that were burnt down, to buy equipment for those agencies. And it's a long, of course, government is a long procedure, long process and all that. So that is what, to start asking for, we've asked before, we'll keep on asking, but right now, I don't know whether it's going to be accepted or to be welcomed. So let's look at next year. I'm not promising anything, but we're going to apply. We're going to ask, and then we'll see what works out. We've discussed this, Mrs. Cole, we've discussed it with the chairman of council. We've discussed it with the chief that mediators' fees is just poor. When we actually told the chairman of council, I remember very well that she said, what kind of a money? Why are you paying them such a small amount of money? And they said, look, that is how it goes, because by the time we look at the number, and I think I should explain how it works. Now, at the end of the year, what we do is to start thinking of applications for the year for for example, now we're thinking of applications for 2021. Now, an agency of Lagos State, what we do is we apply for funding that is funding to run the organization, and then under that funding, that recurrent expenditure, we have a lot of heads. One of the heads is mediators' fees. So we apply to government, we write, an amount, and government wants to know who are these mediators. They want to be sure that we are actually paying mediators this fees. Who are these mediators? What's the name of the case? That sort of thing. So to even apply for mediators' fees is work in itself. It takes us time because we have to list all they said they want to see the names of the mediator. They want to be sure that the mediator is there and all that. And then we have to put names figures against it. We've got to put cases and all that. So it really takes time because the cases are there. Before we look at the cases, before we look at the mediators, so by the time we compute it, the figure comes to quite a lot of money. And anything that it's a large bulk of money like that, Lagos State is going to, our Lagos State. It's a lot of money. So government will look at it and look at it. That's why it takes time for the funding to come out. You can see that last year we had the same problem. It takes time because it's a large amount of money to them. It takes time. And this year, for example, we had to apply for the mediators' fees again because they cut it. They said it's too much that because of COVID, there's no business. So they cut it. And I said, how am I going to be able to pay mediators? Why would you cut mediators' fees? You can cut down on other things, maybe soap, maybe other, but you can't cut down on mediators' fees. I had to go and see the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Economic Finance and Budget. I said, mediators' fees, you can't touch it. You can't. They cut nearly 50% out of it. That's how am I going to pay the mediators? We had to go and see him. We had to talk. We had to discuss. We had to explain, before he accepted that, okay, he'll just give us a little bit of money. Even the money has not come out till now. We've been following up. So it's not, I'm saying all this so that you can understand that working with government, it's not easy. You don't just go there and say, oh, give me this, and then they give you. It takes time. It takes a procedure. There's bureaucracy, and all that. And then you have to explain. They have to understand where you're coming from and all that. At the time, we had to be calling it mediators remuneration because they said that why should they pay? Who are these people? Are they registered with Lagos State? They're not going to pay. We have to explain. You can't ask them to register. They said they have to come and register with 25,000. I had to go and see them at Alausa to explain that these people, they are consulted, they are mediators. They don't have please don't make them register with 25,000. Some of them don't even get a job in the whole year. So it's not ABC like that. It's not as if we're trying to delay your fees or something. It's a lot of work that goes into it. So when you see us like that, we do a lot of work at the background. Got to go to several trips to Alausa to see one commissioner or the other just to ensure that everything is running smoothly. So we'll try again next year to see if we can do something about topping up mediators' fees. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mrs.
Thank you very much, Ma. We had said Mr. Fatogun wants to speak. I think it's an hour already, so we had said we don't want to do more than an hour. Mr. Fatogun.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean, I quickly just wanted to, when you talk about this accommodation problem, I remember very well that there used to be a time when Lagos State had all these mediation centers. And two, I think conservatively, Lagos State has like, is it 18 or 20 local governments? And most of these premises of local government, because I just had the director saying they need space in Ikorodu, they need space in so many places, Mushin. Isn't it part of the areas where you could seek for accommodation if you are not thinking of decentralizing in terms of some of these local government offices? I'm sure most of these local governments will have space for you. Or, but if you're still centralizing, then that's just my quick thinking. Then talking about donation, I mean, Kenneth has already talked well about it. I saw on the participant list over 130 people. Even if we do a 10,000 naira, that's over 1 point something, which will make it easy. I mean, 1 million to 2 million will easily give at least, if most, if a set of good computers, will almost be talking about almost 10 or 20. So this is part of the ways which we can see in helping. Then funding. I don't know, because I used to remember that there used to be some international bodies like the British Council and things like that who used to support these multi-door issues. Are they out of the blues now? Because one of the things that also happens, legal issues are like freedom, and it has a bit of free speech. Some of these international bodies can be of support in terms of funding, so that it's not going to be, it's not like you're giving your freedom away, but there are also some ways to help in funding. Some of these bodies have funds in their setup, United Nations, things like that, which can be seen as supporting our growth in this area. So maybe this also, because the body may be heavy for Lagos State government, but there are some international bodies and organizations who can be supportive when it comes to funding. And they will see it as a good way to help the cost of the Lagos multi-door courthouse. This is just the things that came into my mind, those 3 points.
Thank you
So
very
that's
much,
me.
Mr. Patogun. Can I quickly just respond to that? I forgot the first question you asked.
local government.
Okay, local government. Okay. Now, for the local government, the reason why we said we're looking for space in the High Court and in the Magistrate Court is because under the Ministry of Justice of Lagos State, we have what we call the Citizens Mediation Centers. The Citizen Mediation Centers have offices in the local governments of Lagos State. And they're still trying to get more offices in most local governments. So that's why we are going to the High Courts and Magistrate Courts.
Hello.
To get space. They have not that they are not in there. They are actually saying that they want to expand to more local governments. So you understand. Let's stick to the judiciary, to the courts and all that. They won't come to the courts to say they want space. So that's that. Now for the funding for international organizations, I can easily tell you, Mr. Patogun, that for international funding towards the end of October or first week, we had written not less than, how many letters this is called? Letters requesting for funding. Right, the British Council, they have a particular project right now. And of course, we call them immediately because we're working with them. And they said, regrettably, they can't fund this particular, because it doesn't fall. You see, these people, when they come, they work under certain, they have terms of reference. So maybe they have the Security, Justice and Growth Program. They have certain terms of reference under it, and those are the only things they can fund. What they're working on now is what they call the WOLAC, sponsored by the European Union, and it's rule of law and anti-corruption program. So when I spoke to them, in fact, the lead, the country manager called me, and he said he's so sorry, but they can't help because it doesn't fall under anti-corruption. They have to fund whatever it is that comes under their terms of reference. They felt very bad, but they said they can't fund it because it doesn't come under what they're working on right now, which is anti-corruption. So now to talk to other organizations to ask for other international organizations was a bit of a challenge. We had already written the letters. We were ready to take the letters out. And then Lagos State started what we call this trust fund. They established a trust fund. And the trust fund is to encourage individuals and organizations and international funding organizations to contribute into the trust fund. So if one of the agencies under Lagos State is now independently asking the same international organizations to fund, it's going to look a bit funny. So we discussed with the Honorable Chief Judge and said, look, we already have our letters. We want to start talking to international funding organizations. And he said he wouldn't advise, because it looks as if we're doubling, what Lagos State is doing. We're also doing it on the side. It might not look too tidy. So that's why we had to stop that. So we've actually worked extensively. We've thought about all kinds. You wouldn't believe the level of. We've thought about all kinds of things, but we believe that God willing, God is on our side, and that very soon things will go back to normal. Thank you very much, Mr. Fatubu. Any other comments or questions? This is cool.
I think this is about 6:12, and we had said we'll keep it to an hour. If you'd like to give final remarks.
Okay. Well, I would like to say a very big thank you to our mediators, first of all, for attending this Parley, for waiting patiently to listen to us, and for your contributions. When this thing happened at first, a lot of mediators called, a lot of mediators sent messages to us, a lot of mediators offered their hand and said they were ready to help. We should let them know in which way they can help and all that. We were really overwhelmed, and we're really very appreciative. We want to say a big thank you to our mediators, and for staying with us, for still believing in us, for having the faith that the LMDC will rise up again, which we believe very strongly that we will. And we're hoping that the online settlement month will testify to the fact that we're still there, we're bouncing back. In fact, we are bounced back, and that it should be a very successful settlement month. We wish all of you very best of luck in your cases. We hope that you have 100% settlements, and just let's keep the LMDC flag flying. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma.
Any comments?
No comments, Ma.
Thank you very much, everybody. So,
Mr. Shaw, you can unmute everyone.
Mr. Shomade, please unmute everybody so that they can say their bye-byes. Mr. Shomade.
I don't know if you can hear us.
Oh, well, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Ma.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Congratulations and bye-bye.
Thank you, Ma. Bye. Thank you, Ma. Bye, Ma.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Good to see
Yes,
you.
we will see.
Hello,
We will
Cherry.
see my hand.
Bye. How are you?
Bye.
Bye.
Please, Okusawo, you're back.
Yes,
We've all been
I'm
muted.
done
All
with
right.
my
Bye,
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 everybody.
bye.
Enjoy.
Bye.
I'll call you later.
Lady
Bye-bye.
Shirley, Lady
Okay.
Sagi.
This is Adeyinka. Good evening.
Bye bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Achere, bye-bye.
Nice to see everybody. God bless you. Thank you
Kenneth, you
so
will see
much.
my hand soon.
Mr. Benjamin, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Kenneth, you will see my hand soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good one. Good one.
Thank you. Well done, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Achere.
Mrs. So
How are you? This is Adeyinka. Good evening.